Got my notes, check. Pepsi, check. Sunglasses, check. Hat, check. Thick skin, check. And sources, check. Let's go. Welcome to Golden Blued, everybody. This is where we cover all of college football. So if you're a college football fan, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. I call my Patreons the shot callers, and I can't wait to live stream some games and watch it with my Patreons and the score prediction contest. That's going to be fun. Give yourselves a round of applause. We have reached 9,000 subscribers. It's not because of me. I'm just here yapping my head off. It's because of you hitting the subscribe button. That's why we're at 9,000. And we had a goal of 10,000 by the end of the year. We've bumped that goal up to before the kickoff of the Backyard Brawl. That's right, Golden Blued trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by September 1st. Let's go. I know we can do it. Once again, things are getting interesting in the conference realignment world. I just did a video where I heard that the Big Ten is interested in Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and Cal out of the Pac-12, but they're also interested in Florida State and Miami. Kevin Warren says that the Big Ten is interested in 6 teams, and those are the 6 teams. Now, after I made that video, I talked to other sources, and we had a conversation, and here's what they think is going on. They think that Fox and ESPN may actually be working together to help break the grant of rights for the ACC. Now, I know, that sounds a little fishy, but when you really think about it, it actually would make sense. I know ESPN does make money off the ACC, but here's the thing you got to realize. The ultimate goal in all of this is for the Big Ten and the SEC to get to their magic number and break off from the NCAA and create their own playoffs and national championship. Now, in the regular season, I don't know if they would just play each other or would they still schedule like the Big 12 or an ACC or anything like that. But the goal is for them to break off and create their own playoffs and national championship. And maybe have an invitation out to Big 12 teams, ACC schools. I don't know. But that's the end goal. So maybe they're trying to speed up this process. How would they break the grant of rights? Well, the easiest way is to get 8 teams to vote to break the grant of rights. That's the magic number that the ACC would need. Or they could whittle down the ACC to where it's down to 6 to 8 teams and they could vote to dissolve. But I think the easier path would just be to convince 8 teams, hey, you have a great landing spot in a better conference, you're going to make more money. All we need you to do is vote to break the grant of rights for the ACC. So if that were to go down, who would the Big Ten get and who would the SEC get? Well, there's a couple of teams that both conferences are interested in, and they would have to duke it out to figure out who's going to go where. According to the numbers, the Big Ten is actually going to make more money than the SEC. That surprised me. Now, the SEC is still going to make a truckload of money, but the Big Ten is just going to be a little bit higher than the SEC. So looking at the ACC, what 8 teams could they convince, hey, vote to break the grant of rights and you'll have a landing spot in our conference? Who are those 8 teams? Well, like I mentioned earlier, the Big Ten wants Oregon, Washington, Stanford out of the Pac-12, right? And it was also mentioned that Kevin Warren wants Florida State and Miami. Well, Florida State is one of the teams that the SEC would probably argue over for the Big Ten because their first 4 teams that they wanted in from the ACC was Clemson, North Carolina, Florida State, and Virginia. So Florida State could be on both sides of this coin. So I think the Big Ten could be interested in the Florida State and Miami to have a massive presence in the state of Florida, and they could also lock down Virginia and Virginia Tech. They would lock down the state of Virginia. And that's a pretty good TV market as well. And that's what this is all about. Fan base size, TV market, and revenue. So that would be some interesting choices for the Big Ten. Don't forget to check out our merchandise store. Anything you could ever want from Golden Blued is at our merchandise store. My favorite shirt is actually the checklist shirt. Yes, we made a shirt about the checklist beginning of the video. Now, for the SEC, we already know the first 4 teams. Clemson, North Carolina, Florida State, Virginia. But if they were to give up Florida State and let the Big Ten have Florida State just to help get up the numbers to break the grant of rights, they could also pursue NC State and Louisville. So let's count it out. SEC would have Clemson, North Carolina, NC State, and Louisville. That's 4 teams. They would be conceding Virginia and Florida State to the Big Ten. So the Big Ten would have Florida State, Miami, Virginia, Virginia Tech. That's 8 teams right there. There's your grant of rights. There is the breaking of the grant of rights if this were to happen. So yes, they could work together and be like, well, okay, hey, we'll give you this team. We want that team instead. As long as you get your teams to vote to break the grant of rights, we will get our teams to vote to break the grant of rights. And voila, the grant of rights are broken. That's when the Big 12 can step in. Maybe they could grab a Pitt to help with their West Virginia and Cincinnati situation. Maybe they could grab a Georgia Tech to help out with their UCF situation. I'm not sure if anybody else would add much value. I mean, you have Wake Forest, and that wouldn't help. Syracuse could help because Syracuse does have a very, very big fan base. Problem is, they're not supporting their team right now, but they have potential. So Syracuse is a big question mark for the Big 12. Then there's Boston College. And nobody in the New England area cares about Boston College. They care about the Patriots, the Bruins, and the Celtics. That's it. No Boston College. And then there's Duke. Why in the world would you get Duke? Duke, believe it or not, could be left out in this entire situation simply because their football brand is doo-doo. It's horrible. It is garbage. Sorry, Duke, you could be on the outside looking in on this situation. So for the Big Ten, when the dust settles, they could end up with Florida State, Miami, Virginia, and Virginia Tech. For the SEC, when the dust settles, they could have Clemson, North Carolina, NC State, and Louisville, and then the Big 12 could come in and get a Pitt and a Georgia Tech, maybe a Syracuse. There's an outside chance that the Big 12 could grab a Syracuse. I'm not really sure on that one. So the question is, are they really working together to break the grant of rights? Because they do need to get that magical number of 8. It takes 8 teams to break that grant of rights. Now this is a business rivalry. So can they set their rivalry off to the side, work together for a common goal and say, hey, let's get this done. Let's break the ACC grant of rights. It benefits you. It benefits me. Let's do this. Because remember, ESPN does have the media deal for the ACC. So they are making money off the ACC. So the question would be, would it be worth it for ESPN to make more money off just the SEC and the value of the SEC go through the roof, not worry about the ACC? Yes, you do have to split it with the Big Ten, but you are making more money. Or is it more about keeping the Big Ten out of the ACC? That's one big major detail that those two big TV corporations would have to work out. And I'm not sure what the answer would be. But it is a potential scenario to where Fox and ESPN could be working together, break the grant of rights, and then they get the teams out of the ACC that they want in their conference. Speed up the process to where the Big Ten and the SEC can split off from the NCAA and create their own playoffs and national championship. See, that's the end goal. Are they willing to work together to create a faster path to their ultimate goal? That's the biggest question. So y'all let me know in the comments section. Number 1, do you think ESPN and Fox are willing to work together to break the grant of rights of the ACC? That way they can have their picks to bring to the Big Ten and the SEC, speed up the process to get their own national championship and playoff. Or do you think they just aren't willing to work together and ESPN keeps the ACC? Because we did hear in the past that the ACC and ESPN are working to renegotiate that TV deal. A lot of things still up in the air on this situation. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.